Whether you are an experienced pilot or a novice, and whichever paragliding path you wish to follow, whether cross-country, mountain flying, or even if you're destined for the newer aspects of the sport, the start of every flight is the takeoff. At the moment of takeoff, each pilot can be subjected to stress from different sources. The configuration of the site, strong or cross winds, and considerations regarding other pilots in the vicinity. Lack of practice can also lead to doubt or hesitation. Don't wait until you are on takeoff to learn how to handle your wing. It's imperative that you train yourself in the correct techniques, the improvement of which will result in safe launches. During this DVD, pilots of a high level of ability are going to show you how to improve your ground handling technique. We will also demonstrate various exercises, which will be illustrated in varying conditions. So, practice regularly, find some clear ground and go and play with your wing. You'll see how ground handling becomes a real game and your takeoffs more and more assured. Enjoy the film and your ground handling. Like a kite, a paraglider flies within what is known as the wind window. In practical terms, this window is a space in which the wing can fly. This space is defined by the wind and the relative position of the pilot. It's a quarter of a sphere facing the wind, of which the radius is the length of the lines. This window comprises several distinct zones. In green is what is known as the edge of the window. At the window's edge, the power of the wing is at its weakest. The canopy flies very slowly and can even stop flying altogether. Kite surfers use the edge of the window to launch and stop their kites in safety. Inflation at the edge of the window in strong winds can also be performed by some paraglider pilots, but a high level of skill is required. In red, the zone facing the pilot is the power zone. It's here that the wing is at its most powerful. In paragliding, the wing can fly from the top to the bottom and from one side to the other up to the edge of the window. For a paraglider, the wind window and its different zones exist in the same manner as for kiting. In red, the power zone. The wing strongly resists the wind, producing a pulling effect. In green, the lift zone. The air begins to flow over the wing's profile as it progressively reaches flying speed. This is why, in strong winds, the movement of the wing in the power zone is the critical point of the inflation. You can greatly limit the power of the wing in this zone by moving towards it. As you arrive at takeoff, your attention is generally focused on weather conditions. Knowing how to prepare your equipment must therefore become automatic, so that you're free to concentrate on other aspects of your flight as much as possible. Good preparation of the wing is essential to give yourself the best chance of a perfect inflation. Begin by analysing the conditions. Continue to assess the evolution of the weather as you prepare your equipment. You should prepare and inflate your glider directly into the direction of the wind. If you do this, your glider will ascend symmetrically. Always try your best to raise the wing symmetrically so as to avoid the necessity to move yourself laterally and to be able to correct the inflation more easily. If you don't position the wing at 90 degrees to the wind, the side under more tension will inflate first and attempt to launch before the other half of the wing. The extent of your reaction and the skill it requires will depend on the strength of the wind and the initial movement of the glider. When there is no wind, as here, lay out, then position your wing at 90 degrees to the steepest slope. This will aid your takeoff and facilitate a rapid departure from the hill. It's now time to untangle the lines. To make the job easier, start by moving the harness away from the wing to put a little tension on the lines. Check whether the harness needs rotating. Note how freeing the lines should not cause an unnecessary delay. By tightening the lines and walking towards the wing, it's enough to make sure there are no tangles in them. Here, Jerome carries out a swift inspection of each set of lines, from the front to the back of the glider. In the same way, he next ensures that the brake lines slide freely to the end of their travel. Now you can put your harness on and continue with the pre-flight check. We're now going to see the various stages comprising a forward launch. In weak or nil wind conditions, this takeoff technique is often preferred to the reverse launch method. By giving a positive input of energy, the pilot ensures that the wing ascends cleanly. It also gives a certain continuity to the launch, which helps to create a constant loading on the wing. First of all, observe the position. The wing correctly prepared and orientated directly into wind, or in nil wind on the steepest part of the slope, and with the pilot situated in the centre. Note Jerome's posture. He's looking far ahead, his arms forming a W. The arms and chest are on the same plane. He's ready to provide the energy necessary for launch. This needs to be a relatively dynamic manoeuvre to ensure the wing has enough power to lift cleanly. However, take care to regulate your input according to the strength of the wind. In stronger winds, reduce the force of your input. If you give the wing too much energy, you risk being snatched into the air. In weak conditions, as here, Jerome doesn't hesitate to give a positive input. Then the wing lifts, either quickly or more slowly, to arrive at a position above your head. You should then control it by braking so that it doesn't overfly you. Once again, your actions must be governed by conditions. If the wing climbs rather slowly, very light braking should be enough to prevent it from overflying you. On the other hand, if the glider rises fast, don't hesitate to brake, even quite hard if necessary. However, this should be a brief reaction, as you mustn't keep the wing braked for too long. As he brakes, note how Jerome takes the opportunity to look up to visually check that the lines are free of tangles and that the canopy is in the correct position. At this stage, he can still decide to continue or abort the takeoff. He decides to continue and starts his takeoff run. In light or nil wind conditions, a sustained effort is required to achieve the speed necessary to create the lift. A committed run also helps to ensure that the wing is adequately pressurized. Look closely at his position. He's clearly leaning forward, his shoulders outside the risers. His weight is transmitted to the wing due to firm pressure on the chest strap of his harness. To abort the attempt, brake to the limit, hands at your thighs, and continue to advance so that the wing falls behind you. The glider and pilot form a pendular system. In the air, in the event of rolling or pitching, you are naturally brought back beneath your wing. On the ground, it's a different matter entirely. If your wing moves to the left or right, it's up to you to follow it to regain the equilibrium. At the moment of takeoff, if the wing climbs sideways, you don't have to collapse it and start again. This situation can well be recovered. In the first place, follow the wing while continuing to advance. Next, correct the course of the wing with the opposite brake. In this way, you maintain a good loading on the wing throughout the run, while keeping to the initial direction chosen for it. Once returned to a position of equilibrium, with the wing stabilized above your head, you can start your takeoff run. David's action demonstrates this very well. By moving towards the wing, he causes a canopy to return above his head.